was just the class of 2019.
Thank you. Really quick before I begin, I'll probably not have a grander stage to ever do this again in my life, so I just want to say thank you to my mom and dad, real quick. Dad, you taught me what it means to be a man, and Mom, you were the single greatest person I've ever met in my entire life. And if I'm half of the parents that you are, I'll be the greatest father in the world. So, thank you. So with that out of the way, teachers, parents, faculty, distinguished guests, alumni, once again allow me to welcome you to the graduation ceremony for the McLean High School class of 2019. I just want to start off by saying I'm going to be making a lot of jokes about many of the people in this room. But don't worry, I want to assure you that no matter how harsh the joke, I don't believe I can be issued a 30-day extracurricular activity ban anymore. So I'm pretty much home free. Fellow students, my name is Nick Monroe. We went to high school together. For those of you who don't know me, you're probably wondering what I'm doing up here. For those of you who do know me, you're really wondering what I'm doing up here. That was a lot of laughs. I'm here to talk about our time inside of the color-coded hallways of McLean High School. 1,365 days ago, we waited in line with our parents to receive our schedules and figure out where our freshman year classes would be. It almost seems as if we've been talking about this day, graduation, since then. As Charles Dickens once said, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. High school had a lot of firsts. The first football game, the first year that winter formal was canceled, the first girlfriend, the second girlfriend, the third girlfriend, realizing that you were the problem. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It would probably be best to start with the first year, freshman year. We were all squeaky clean new kids on the block, new backpacks, new binders, and more pencils than most could ever even imagine. It was an interesting year to say the least. For me and some buddies in Silver Day beat lunch, starting a massive social media campaign to elect Mitch Wasserman as homecoming king. To ending health and PE 9 with a B because I forgot to turn in my final fitness project. I'm still sorry about that, Ms. Person. Freshman year was one for the history books, but I would be remiss if I didn't speak about the biggest event from our freshman year, the bomb threat day. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got to school around 7:40 to go sit in the cafeteria and catch up with my friends before the bell, as all underclassmen do. But the only difference was I was particularly worried that day. Ask any one of my teachers, I have a slight tendency to procrastinate, and that night was no different. The night before, when trying to study for my history test, I accidentally fell into the rabbit hole that is YouTube conspiracy videos, and spent 3 hours watching numerous documentaries on how NASA faked the moon landing and why Tupac is actually living in Cuba right now. So that morning, I sat in the cafeteria trying to think of ways to get out of taking this test. Fake sick, way too early. Just go home, the school would probably call my parents. It was at this point that I said, if anybody's up there, now would be a great time to throw me a bone. The PA went off 30 seconds later, and we were evacuated to the practice field. So what I'm trying to say is, be careful what you wish for. So sophomore year, or as I like to call it, the year of change. We were a little bit more comfortable and a whole lot bolder. I can recall thinking it was acceptable to put 16 fluid ounces of gel in my hair every day. But before anybody in the audience laughs, I know some of you grew up wearing Jinko jeans and parachute pants, so we've all made some poor fashion choices. Sophomore year had a big milestone for a lot of us. It was the year many of us received our driver's licenses. For us teenagers, it was one of the most exciting moments of our lives. For parents, I can only assume it was one of the most terrifying moments of your lives. And honestly, I can't blame you. If you haven't noticed, we can be a little bit stupid, especially when it comes to driving. I'm telling you right now, I could definitely start a scholarship fund for future Highlanders with all the money I've spent over the last 3 years paying off my J-Law parking tickets. But to be fair, sophomore year really wasn't anybody's brightest moment. That was the year most of us took chemistry. I'm not saying it was a hard class. I'm not saying it was a hard class. I'm just saying that my inability to memorize the polyatomic ions and passing the chem SOL by literally one question may be the reason I decided to go to college for journalism and not science. College. So that brings me to junior year, where every conversation included some talk of who you were going to ask to write your recommendations, what AP classes you were taking, and who in your friend group stayed up the latest studying for their pre-calc test. If the different grades of McLean High School were a family, the juniors would be the disgruntled, freedom-seeking middle children, ready to fly away from the nest and pushing the limits on curfew, hanging out with friends, and seeing how many times we could skip school before Miss Yates dragged us to class herself. It was a stressful year, made even more difficult when dozens of my classmates and I were diagnosed with early onset senioritis. We lost a lot of good men out there. Some names come to mind, but we won't get into that. Through the strength of our friendships and our resolve, we overcame. So that brings me to now, senior year. For me, a year of somber reflection. For the past 3 years, all we have thought about is this: our last first day of school, our last class, our final home games. In the midst of all this, it is easy to forget how amazing our time at McLean has been. From our state champion tennis, gymnastics, and marching bands teams, give them a little round of applause. To our amazing theater departments, plays, and musicals over the last 4 years. From rushing the field our sophomore year after the Miracle at McLean football game versus Fairfax, to our boys basketball team with the greatest point guard in school history, Matthias Brock, sweeping the Langley Saxons as seniors. To our girls varsity basketball team winning the whole Liberty District Championship this year. And also with a soft spot in my heart, with McDance-a-thon raising over $50,000 this year for pediatric illness. Now I get it. High school hasn't been the most forgiving, but know that with every triumph, failure, and experience in between, you have become the person you are today, a soon-to-be high school graduate. Classmates, it has been an absolute pleasure going to school with you, learning with you, and spending these past 4 years side by side. As a student who didn't go to Longfellow, who had no friends on the first day of school, who ate lunch by himself for the first 2 weeks of freshman year, thank you for accepting me and giving me memories that I will never forget. Enjoy this day, enjoy this celebration of your accomplishments, and enjoy this moment. If this is the last time that I ever see you, know that you have changed my life for the better. So to the McLean High School graduating class of 2019, I leave you with a few closing remarks. In the words of a role model of mine, someone who I've spent the last 4 years trying my best to emulate, the great Ferris Bueller. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Go Highlanders, thank you. Now please join me in welcoming the McLean Madrigals for a musical performance.